Japan has long captured the global imagination as a pristine oasis of neon liturgy and clockwork perfection. Yet by the year 2026, this immaculate facade is fracturing under the weight of severe structural paradoxes. Welcome to a late-night descent into the shadow side of the world's most hyper-engineered society, a nation that has commercialized the human soul to survive its own impending biological collapse. Number 1. The invisible exiles of the zero homeless illusion. Walk through the bustling arteries of Tokyo or Osaka in 2026, and you will notice something statistically miraculous: the near-total absence of destitute individuals sleeping on the streets. Official government assessments boldly claim a homelessness rate approaching 0%, a metric that defies the economic realities of every other developed superpower on Earth. The truth is not that poverty has been eradicated across the Japanese archipelago, but rather that the marginalized have been systematically engineered out of sight. In a societal framework where honor dictates personal value, losing one's home is categorized not as a socioeconomic misfortune, but as an unforgivable personal failure, especially for men who are expected to anchor the corporate hierarchy. To preserve family face and personal dignity, thousands of displaced individuals choose absolute invisibility, avoiding public spaces during daylight, refusing to beg, and concealing their condition with meticulous cleanliness. This cultural self-isolation is reinforced by a calculated regime of hostile urban architecture. Public parks across major municipal wards enforce early curfews with iron gates, and benches at transit hubs are deliberately sculpted with middle armrests or steep curves to make lying down physically impossible. By criminalizing the act of asking for financial assistance under public disturbance laws, the state has not solved destitution, it has simply pushed it into the shadows of internet cafes and 24-hour fast food booths. If you look closely at the pristine alleys, you are not witnessing the absence of poverty, but the ultimate triumph of societal concealment. How long can a civilization sustain a perfection built entirely on the forced erasure of its most vulnerable citizens? Number 2. The 2,500 yen cost of a spotless sidewalk. Navigating the crowded labyrinth of Shibuya Crossing reveals another immediate shock: a complete lack of public refuse bins alongside streets that remain entirely immaculate. This environmental phenomenon traces back to the trauma of March 1995, when the Aum Shinrikyo cult unleashed weaponized sarin gas inside the Tokyo subway system, prompting authorities to permanently remove municipal trash receptacles to eliminate potential concealment points for explosive or chemical devices. For over 3 decades, waste management was successfully redefined as a sacred personal duty, with citizens carrying their refuse home in plastic bags. However, by 2026, an unprecedented influx of over 42 million international visitors has pushed this self-regulated framework to its absolute breaking point. In entertainment hotspots like Shibuya, where late-night public drinking and street congestion have surged, the local government has officially abandoned gentle persuasion for aggressive financial penalties. Municipal ordinances now enforce an immediate, on-the-spot administrative fine of 2,000 yen, roughly $13 for any individual caught littering. To ensure total compliance, a specialized task force of more than 50 multilingual patrol officers fluent in English, Mandarin and Korean continuously monitors the neon-lit corridors. Armed with digital payment terminals, these enforcement agents can collect fines instantly via cash, credit cards, or mobile quick response codes under a blunt administrative directive. If you drop trash, you lose money. It is a stark reminder that Japanese order is no longer just a product of cultural zen. It is an enforced matrix of financial surveillance. Number 3. The preserved canvases of the Yakuza underworld. Beneath the polite corporate etiquette of modern Japan lies the intricate criminal subculture of the Yakuza, syndicates whose identities are permanently etched into their flesh through irizumi, the traditional art of full-body tattooing. Unlike Western gang tattoos designed for swift intimidation or crude territorial marking, irizumi is a highly sophisticated, lifelong commitment to narrative art, symbolizing ancestral honor, stoic endurance, and one's precise hierarchical standing within the clan. Utilizing the ancient Tobori method, master artists hand-poke rich pigments into the dermis using shafts of bamboo or steel tipped with needles, an agonizing process requiring hundreds of hours and thousands of US dollars. This reverence for the narrative written on skin has birthed an incredibly rare, legally synchronized practice: the post-mortem preservation of tattooed human hides. With explicit legally binding consent documented prior to an individual's passing, the tattooed epidermis of deceased high-ranking syndicate members is surgically harvested by specialized medical pathologies. These skins undergo rigorous chemical treatments to arrest decomposition, while permanently locking in the vivid hues of hand-poked dragons, deities, and cherry blossoms. For those seeking to witness this convergence of criminal history and anatomical preservation, the Medical Museum of the University of Tokyo quietly houses a collection of these 19th and 20th century human specimens, displaying them not as macabre trophies, but as irreplaceable artifacts of an era fast vanishing behind modern anti-gang legislation. Number 4. The Scarecrow Village of a Dying Dynasty. Japan is currently navigating an unprecedented demographic emergency that threatens its literal existence. Since the late 20th century, specifically trailing downward from 1972, the national fertility rate has steadily plummeted, stagnating at an abysmal 1.4 to 1.15 births per woman. The mathematics of this societal contraction are devastating. Every single year, approximately 1.5 million citizens pass away, while only about 670,000 to 770,000 infants are born. This leaves a human deficit of nearly 800,000 people annually, causing the population to evaporate at a rate equivalent to losing a major city every 12 months. Actuarial models warn that if this trajectory remains unaltered by the year 2720, the entirety of Yamanashi Prefecture will contain only one solitary Japanese child under the age of 14. This dystopian future is already a living reality in remote regions, most poignantly illustrated by the village of Nagoro, nestled deep within the isolated Iya Valley of Tokushima Prefecture. Once a vibrant mountain community of over 300 residents, Nagoro has withered to fewer than 30 living souls, almost all of whom are well over the age of 70. For more than a decade, the village has not recorded a single newborn cry, forcing the permanent closure of its only primary school. To combat the oppressive silent emptiness of this demographic vacuum, an elderly resident began handcrafting life-size scarecrows out of straw and discarded clothing, placing them in classrooms, at abandoned bus stops, and along vacant doorsteps to represent the dead and the departed. Today, over 350 of these silent effigies outnumber the living residents 10 to 1, offering a haunting preview of the 500 towns projected to vanish completely from the Japanese administrative map by 2040. What happens to the soul of a nation when its most enduring cultural landscapes are populated entirely by fabric and twine? Number 5. The state-sponsored algorithms of artificial intimacy. In a desperate bid to reverse this biological twilight, the government under its current leadership has crossed into the realm of techno-social engineering. Beyond standard financial incentives, such as offering vacant rural properties known as Akia for zero rent, or providing direct childbirth subsidies ranging from $15,000 to $20,000, the state has mobilized advanced artificial intelligence to force romantic connections. The Tokyo Metropolitan Government has engineered an official municipal matchmaking application called Tokyo Futari Story, which mandates strict identity verification, tax record submittals, and signed declarations of marriage intent before unleashing its predictive algorithms. On a localized level, rural prefectures like Kochi have begun issuing direct digital stipends of 20,000 yen, or roughly $125, to residents aged 20 to 39 specifically to subsidize their subscription fees on state-approved dating networks. While these measures have produced localized successes, including over 300 marriages in Saitama Prefecture and a minor 1.3% bump in Tokyo's annual births, the macroeconomic outlook remains bleak. The deep-seated reluctance of young citizens to enter traditional unions has sparked radical, hushed policy discussions. Beyond academic debates regarding the legal restructuring of domestic partnerships, the administration is aggressively executing a plan to import 500,000 young professionals from India to integrate into the domestic workforce. While officially framed as a strategy to alleviate catastrophic labor shortages in automation and elder care, public forums are rife with the open understanding that this massive influx of youthful foreign labor is quietly expected to integrate culturally and biologically, artificially shocking the nation's stagnant reproductive pool. Number 6. The multi-thousand-dollar economy of purchased affection. The aesthetic hallmark of modern Japanese femininity is centered around kawaii, a highly stylized cultivation of youthful innocence, soft elegance and delicate grace over overt sensuality. From porcelain skin regimens to the iconic, slightly inward-pointing pigeon-toed gait that projects a traditional aura of bashful modesty, every element is curated to soothe the hyper-stressed masculine ego. Yet, beneath this veneer of compliance lies an aggressive, multi-million-dollar industry driven entirely by women seeking emotional liberation from the constraints of daily life. The host clubs of entertainment districts like Kabukicho. In these lavishly decorated, neon-drenched sanctuaries, women pay astronomical sums of money to sit alongside impeccably groomed, highly articulate young men whose sole occupation is to pour expensive champagne, offer undivided attention, and simulate an idealized romantic partnership. The financial baseline for a single evening within these clubs scales from several hundred to tens of thousands of US dollars, with high-net-worth female patrons routinely spending fortunes to secure the exclusive company of top-ranked hosts. This is not a transaction for physical intimacy. It is a clinical commercialization of validation, a sanctuary where corporate women and nightlife workers alike trade capital for the basic human sensation of being deeply desired and prioritized. Number 7. The predatory financial trap of the night hosts. The unregulated growth of this emotional market has catalyzed severe social crises, turning Kabukicho into a psychological minefield. Many unscrupulous host clubs employ highly manipulative grooming techniques, mimicking long-term romantic commitment or promising future marriage to exploit young, vulnerable women. These patrons are systematically induced to order extravagant liquor towers, accumulating astronomical debts known as kakuri, which are unwritten but aggressively enforced credit balances, running into millions of yen. Once trapped beneath these insurmountable financial obligations, these young women are systematically coerced by club operators into street-level sex work at municipal parks like Okubo Park, or dispatched to international prostitution rings operating across North America and Australia to liquidate their debts. The National Police Agency documented nearly 3,000 consultations regarding host club financial exploitation in a single annual cycle, highlighted by the shocking case of a 15-year-old minor who accumulated a 6 million yen debt after a mere 10 visits to a Kabukicho venue. This public crisis forced a massive legal reckoning, resulting in a sweeping legislative amendment implemented with full force by 2026. This statute explicitly criminalizes any psychological manipulation intended to induce excessive debt within entertainment venues. Proving the state's aggressive new stance, law enforcement executed a high-profile arrest of 27-year-old host Takuto Takioka, who had utilized digital dating applications under the guise of an IT executive to fabricate romantic relationships with multiple women, subsequently forcing them into dark credit borrowing to finance his club revenue, netting nearly 140 million yen, or 910,000 US dollars. This landmark prosecution marks the official beginning of Japan's war against the weaponization of loneliness. Number 8. The sacred paradox of the secular soul. The spiritual architecture of Japan is an extraordinary, non-exclusive matrix where multiple theological doctrines operate simultaneously without structural friction. Approximately 70% of the population identifies with Shinto, the indigenous animistic faith that populates the universe with 8 million spirits dwelling within rivers, mountains, and the wind. Concurrently, nearly 67% of the same population actively practices Buddhism. This mathematical impossibility reveals the deeply pragmatic nature of the Japanese soul. An individual will seamlessly celebrate a newborn's birth at a Shinto shrine, wed under the romantic aesthetics of a Christian chapel, and conduct their eventual funeral within a Buddhist temple without experiencing a single shred of cognitive dissonance. Religion here is viewed not as an ideological cage, but as an essential cultural utility. This pragmatism has thoroughly secularized the Buddhist monastic order. Since the modernization eras, Japanese monks have been legally permitted to marry, raise children, consume meat, and drink alcohol while maintaining their spiritual offices. Temples are treated as lucrative family enterprises, passed down through generations like premium real estate portfolios. In 2026, these ancient institutions operate with corporate precision, maintaining sophisticated mobile applications, offering digital funeral live streams, renting sacred halls for corporate yoga retreats, and running highly profitable boutique coffee shops within their temple gates. This commercialized divinity exists alongside highly persistent, modern neo-religious movements known as Shinshukyo, whose recruitment tactics utilize multilingual pamphlets and doorstep proselytizing, targeting lonely domestic citizens and foreign expatriates with the aggressive precision of a corporate sales force. Number 9. The outsourced morality of the social proxy economy. In a culture dominated by the preservation of wa or social harmony, the overt expression of conflict or personal vulnerability is considered an intolerable breach of etiquette. This psychological restriction has given rise to a bizarre, highly specialized service economy designed entirely to outsource difficult human interactions through paid proxies. If a relationship has deteriorated beyond repair, individuals can engage a wakar, a professional breakup agency that will deploy undercover agents to meet your partner, deliver the termination notice with absolute emotional detachment, coordinate the extraction of personal property, and systematically purge digital footprints to prevent any agonizing relational backsliding. Should you commit a severe professional or personal transgression, you can hire an apology service for a fee ranging from $50 to several hundred US. These professional surrogates will don formal attire, travel to your offended party, and execute the classic triple bow at mathematically perfect angles, absorbing the full force of human wrath so you never have to experience the humiliation yourself. If you are a young professional suffering from extreme alienation or chronic procrastination, you can contract an ethical scolding service, paying a surrogate mother or an intense corporate persona to enter your apartment and verbally berate your lifestyle choices to shock your discipline back into alignment. From renting temporary actors to pose as romantic partners for social media validation, to lying awake inside an upholstered coffin during a living funeral simulation designed to shock you out of urban depression, Japan's service sector has proved that any emotional deficit can be resolved, provided you have the liquidity to pay the invoice. Number 10. The underground empire of the 2050 metropolis. It is a common global trope that Japan resides permanently in the future, an observation that becomes reality when examining its infrastructure. The domestic toilet industry has transformed basic biological elimination into a hyper-automated ritual, featuring sensory user detection, heated seating, customized acoustic privacy screens that mask human sound with white noise or classical melodies, and automated medical diagnostics. This technological insulation extends to the urban landscape, where major metropolises have deployed fully unmanned convenience networks utilizing artificial intelligence camera grids and pressure-sensitive shelving that track, tally and charge consumers without a single human interaction. Beneath the asphalt of Tokyo lies a highly complex network of fully automated, multi-story robotic parking vaults. Drivers simply position their vehicles onto a subterranean platform, allowing a centralized computer elevator to rotate, ascend, and park the vehicle within an iron silo, returning it to the surface via a digital token in under 60 seconds. This engineering brilliance is balanced by a deep, systematic commitment to vulnerable populations. Almost every square inch of urban sidewalk is paved with yellow tactile tenji blocks for the visually impaired, an infrastructural feat unmatched in its sheer scale. In snow-choked northern capitals like Sapporo, the municipal government has installed subterranean geothermal heating in grids that continuously circulate warmed water beneath the concrete, instantly melting winter precipitation to ensure pedestrian transit remains perfectly fluid without the use of chemical salts or manual plowing. This is a civilization that has successfully mastered the physical world, yet continues to struggle with the internal architecture of human connection. Number 11. The modern leviathan of underestimated martial power. One of the most significant geopolitical miscalculations of the 21st century is the international perception of Japan as a pacified economic giant with negligible military capability, a narrative carefully maintained under the constraints of Article 9 of its post-war constitution. While the state technically maintains a self-defense force capped at approximately 247,000 active personnel, the structural reality of this military apparatus is profoundly formidable. Every single enlistee is trained to officer-level competency, ensuring that in a moment's notice, the military can scale into a multi-million-man fighting force. By 2026, under an administration driven by intense regional anxieties, Japan has shattered its historical pacifist glass ceiling, accelerating its defense spending to an unprecedented 2% of its total gross domestic product. The national defense budget has established an all-time high of 9.4 trillion yen, roughly $58 billion, turning the island nation into one of the most potent military spenders on Earth. This capital has materialized as raw offensive capability. The Maritime Self-Defense Force commands a fleet of over 150 sophisticated warships, including 40 state-of-the-art Aegis destroyers. Its massive Izumo-class helicopter carriers have officially completed structural conversions, modifying their flight decks with heat-resistant materials to launch and recover F-35B stealth fighter jets, effectively resurrecting Japan's aircraft carrier power projection capabilities for the first time since the Battle of Midway. Backed by an aerospace network that monitors the skies with zero blind spots and an industrial base where 40% of the world's high-precision machine tools reside, corporate entities like Mitsubishi can transition civilian automotive and robotic assembly lines into missile and armored vehicle production within a matter of weeks. The samurai sword has not been beaten into a plowshare, it has been engineered into a stealth cruise missile. Number 12. The clockwork chaos of the 37 million man ant farm. Greater Tokyo is the most populated metropolitan region on the planet, a massive urban convergence of over 37 million people, packed into an administrative puzzle of 23 central wards and dozens of satellite municipalities. Yet, this unfathomable human density operates with a fluid efficiency that mimics Swiss clockwork, almost completely free of the gridlock traffic jams that paralyze every other global megacity. To observe this synchronized humanity, one must stand at the Shibuya crossing, where up to 3,000 individuals traverse the intersection in a single multi-directional pedestrian light cycle, weaving past one another without a single physical collision. This hyper-dense lifestyle has forced the city to expand downward, carving out a subterranean mirror city spanning hundreds of kilometers of interconnected tunnels. Within this subsurface metropolis, millions of corporate employees can depart their suburban trains, navigate directly to their office skyscrapers, dine at subterranean Michelin-starred establishments, and shop for luxury goods without ever witnessing daylight or breathing external air. The transit network that feeds this human engine moves 40 million commuters daily, a number exceeding the entire population of Canada. Here, a train delayed by a mere 60 seconds triggers a formal public address announcement and the issuance of physical apology vouchers to protect workers from corporate reprimand. It is an urban masterpiece of absolute order, yet it forces the question, can human individuality truly survive when packaged so tightly into an engineered grid? Number 13. The neon catharsis of the corporate safe haven. When the oppressive gravity of the corporate day concludes, the rigid hierarchy of Tokyo liquefies into a vibrant night culture that serves as an essential psychological safety valve. The primary sanctuaries are izakayas, traditional multi-tiered taverns where the strict barriers of Japanese corporate protocol are temporarily suspended under the influence of nomihodai, or all-you-can-drink alcohol packages spanning set hours. Over endless carafes of sake, shochu, and plates of yakitori, low-level employees are culturally permitted to speak frankly with their executive superiors, without fear of professional retaliation, a ritualistic unburdening known as nomikai. This nocturnal liberation extends into multi-story karaoke palaces, where private soundproofed rooms allow individuals to scream away their frustrations into a microphone, or open-ended manga cafes that offer sanctuary to those who have missed the final midnight train. Because Japan maintains one of the lowest violent crime indexes on Earth, this nightlife is uniquely safe, allowing solo travelers and late-night revelers to navigate the dark corridors of Roppongi or Dotonbori at 3 in the morning with absolute peace of mind. The streets do not sleep, they simply breathe out the collective stress accumulated during the crushing corporate day. Number 14. The magnetic silence of the suicide canopy. At the northern base of Mount Fuji lies the vast emerald expanse of the Aokigahara Forest, a geological landscape known to the world by a far more terrifying title, the Suicide Forest. For decades, this dense woodland has served as the final destination for hundreds of individuals seeking to exit society, forcing the placement of desperate municipal signage along its perimeters, urging troubled souls to reconsider their families. Beyond the tragic human narratives, Aokigahara is famous for genuine, unexplainable physical anomalies. Travelers who deviate from the marked trails routinely report that their digital compasses spin erratically, mobile phone signals completely evaporate, and sophisticated global positioning systems fail entirely. While folklore attributes this to the residual negative energy of the thousands who have perished beneath the branches, Geophysicists offer a cold scientific explanation. The forest rests upon a massive foundation of ancient, hardened volcanic lava generated by Mount Fuji's historic eruptions. This basaltic rock contains an exceptionally high concentration of magnetic iron ore, specifically magnetite. This dense underground iron deposit creates powerful localized magnetic anomalies that completely disrupt electronic sensors and mechanical needles. Furthermore, the porous nature of the volcanic rock combined with the dense, light-blocking canopy acts as an absolute acoustic dampener, absorbing sound waves so efficiently that a scream can fade within a few meters. This absolute unnatural silence strips individuals of their spatial orientation, inducing rapid psychological panic and turning an ordinary geological formation into a natural trap for the desperate. Number 15. The phantom geography of the erased valley. Deep within the folklore of Fukuoka Prefecture lies the urban legend of Inunaki Village, a mysterious community alleged to exist entirely outside the jurisdiction of the Japanese Constitution, where old laws are void and those who enter are hunted by feral residents. While internet forums treat Inunaki as a supernatural ghost story, historical research uncovers a deeply corporate and tragic reality. A village named Inunakidani did exist within that exact mountain valley, dating back to the Edo period as a small, specialized commune dedicated to pottery and metallurgy. However, during the mid-1980s, specifically concluding in 1986, the municipality was officially dissolved and completely erased from the geographic register, not by ghosts, but by the construction of the massive Inunaki Dam. The entire living population was financially compensated and relocated to surrounding townships, and the remaining wooden structures were completely submerged beneath millions of tons of reservoir water. The dark modern lore surrounding the area actually stems from a horrific historical event on December 6, 1988, when a gang of delinquent youths abducted a young factory worker, torturing him within the abandoned, old Inunaki mountain tunnel before burning him alive. This brutal murder, combined with subsequent drowning accidents in the nearby dam infrastructure, forever stained the geography in the local psyche. The physical village is gone, buried beneath a deep aquatic tomb, but the human capacity for violence transformed a flooded public works project into a modern ghost story. Number 16. The phallic prayers for an inclusive future. Among the vast tapestry of traditional celebrations, the Kanamara Matsuri, or the Festival of the Steel Phallus, held every April in Kawasaki, stands out as an absolute cultural shock to outsiders. The festival features massive parades of giant phallic shrines, carried through the streets by cheering crowds consuming anatomically explicit confections. While foreign tourists treat the event as a comedic spectacle, its roots date back to the 17th century as a sacred Shinto ritual, where sex workers prayed for protection against infectious diseases and families sought blessings for fertility and marital harmony. In 2026, this ancient festival has evolved into a powerful engine for progressive social change, with the local shrine donating the massive revenues generated by the event directly to cutting-edge HIV and AIDS research and medical care organizations. It serves as a rare culturally sanctioned space where an otherwise conservative society can engage in open, non-judgmental discourse regarding reproductive health and sexual diversity. This light-hearted celebration stands in stark contrast to the Namahage Matsuri of Akita Prefecture, where men don terrifying, snarling demon masks and straw capes during the winter solstice, storming into rural households with wooden knives to terrify lazy children into obedience and work ethic. Whether through comedic celebration or psychological terror, Japanese festivals are calculated mechanisms designed to reinforce the societal bonds necessary to prevent individual isolation. Number 17. The minimalist geometry of the culinary canvas. The gastronomy of Japan is defined by a philosophical pursuit of absolute minimalism, a belief that the ultimate expression of flavor is achieved not through complex seasoning, but through the perfect preservation of an ingredient's natural essence. This is epitomized by high-end sushi, where masters spend up to a decade learning to correctly fan vinegared rice and slice raw seafood with surgical precision, according to the exact seasonal micro-temperatures of the ocean. This culinary dedication is mirrored in ramen, which has evolved from a cheap post-war staple into a highly complex science. The nation is divided into distinct regional flavor wars, from the rich, pork bone emulsion of Hakata's tonkatsu to the fermented miso profiles of northern Sapporo. For a more chaotic dining experience, one turns to okonomiyaki, the savory cabbage pancake cooked directly on flat iron griddles. a dish whose very name translates to "as you like it," showcasing a rare departure from Japanese rigid structure by allowing consumers to dictate their own ingredients. This culinary world is tied together by matcha, the vibrant green tea powder that has transitioned from a meditative Zen ritual into a global flavor profile, infusing everything from traditional sweets to modern milk lattes, providing a bitter, complex foundation that mirrors the balance of the culture itself. Number 18. The frozen fairy tale of the prayer hand roofs. Beyond the neon distortion of the mega-cities lie landscapes that feel completely suspended in time. The primary gem is Shirakawa-go, a traditional village nestled deep within the river valleys of Gifu Prefecture and designated as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. The village is globally famous for its unique Gasho Zukuri architecture, a structural style characterized by incredibly steep, thatched roofs constructed entirely without nails. The term Gasho Zukuri translates to constructed like hands in prayer, referencing the steep angle of the roofs which resemble two hands pressed together. This design is intensely practical. The region experiences some of the heaviest snowfall volumes on Earth, and the extreme angles allow the massive weight of winter precipitation to slide off naturally, preventing the collapse of the historic wooden frames. During the peak of winter, when the valley is blanketed in deep snow, the village executes an illumination festival, where the ancient homes are lit from within by golden spotlights, transforming a harsh mountain survival strategy into an ethereal landscape. This ancient preservation is balanced by Miyajima Island in Hiroshima, where the massive red torii gate of Itsukushima Shrine stands directly within the ocean shallows. At high tide, the massive timber structure appears to float effortlessly upon the sea, serving as a boundary marker separating the profane human world from the sacred realm of the Shinto gods, while wild protected sika deer navigate the shorelines, interacting with travelers with a gentle, fearless curiosity. Number 19. The unwritten laws of public compliance. For the international traveler navigating Japan, the most significant hurdle is not the language barrier, but the invisible web of social etiquette that dictates all public behavior. On municipal transit networks, there is an absolute unwritten mandate of silence. Speaking loudly on a mobile phone, playing audio without headphones, or even consuming food and beverages within subway cars is viewed as a severe violation of public space. The concept of the queue is treated with religious reverence. Crowds will spontaneously organize into flawless, parallel lines when waiting for elevators, buses, or train doors, and attempting to bypass this order will result in immediate social ostracization. Financial transactions follow an equally strict protocol. Cash or credit cards are never handed directly to a merchant. Instead, currency must be positioned onto a small, dedicated rubber tray provided at the counter, allowing the clerk to count and verify the funds with both hands as a demonstration of mutual respect. Furthermore, while violent crime is virtually non-existent, travelers must remain alert to tourist pricing matrices within crowded nightlife districts like Kabukicho or Roppongi, where predatory foreign-run bars may levy excessive seating fees or unadvertised surcharges on unsuspecting tourists. To navigate this world successfully, one must learn to read the air, matching the collective volume and behavior of the crowd to avoid disrupting the social harmony. Number 20. The financial ledger of the hyper-urban existence. To establish a long-term life within the Japanese economic engine requires a cold analysis of the structural cost of living. Within the central rings of Tokyo or Osaka, residential real estate commands a massive premium. A microscopic one-bedroom apartment, measuring less than 20 square meters, routinely commands a monthly rental price tracking between $800 and $1,200. For those willing to accept a lengthy commute from the outer satellite cities, this overhead can be mitigated to between $400 and $700. This housing cost is balanced by a highly affordable, exceptionally efficient public transportation grid, where short-distance transit fares run between $1 and $2.5, with corporate employers routinely financing their staff's monthly transit passes, which average around $100. Nutritional economics depend entirely on one's willingness to conform to local patterns. Procuring raw ingredients at neighborhood supermarkets and cooking at home requires a monthly allocation of roughly $200 to $300, while dining out at casual, automated fast food establishments serving beef bowls or ramen tracks at a highly economical $4 to $6 per meal. Ultimately, an individual can maintain a comfortable, highly secure lifestyle within a Japanese urban center on a total baseline budget of $1,200 to $1,500 per month. It is a society that offers unprecedented safety, infrastructural brilliance, and material comfort, yet it demands an absolute surrender of individuality to the collective machine. The ultimate paradox of Japan is that its greatest achievements, its absolute safety, its flawless transit, its immaculate streets, are the direct products of the same cultural mechanisms that produce its deepest crises: its crushing loneliness, its demographic twilight, and its emotional commercialization. The nation is a living laboratory for the future of hyper-urban civilization, demonstrating that when a society prioritizes structural optimization and economic efficiency over the organic chaos of human connection, it risks engineering its own quiet extinction. As the neon lights of Tokyo flicker into the dawn, one must look past the flawless veneer and ask, what is the value of an immaculate world if there is no one left to inherit it? The information is for reference only, so please do your own research before